How you going? Troy Parsons from the Hive. Having worked with hundreds of practices across Australia, New Zealand and the UK, one of the challenges that tends to come up very early in the journey is around pricing and when was the last time we put up our prices. I certainly know in my practice I used to try and do it every 12 months, but I had a huge amount of anxiety around putting up my prices, and I was always worried that if I put up my prices I'm going to lose patients. And I wonder if this thought has ever run through your mind. I'm willing to bet it has. Then a coach I was working with me one day just ran me through a simple formula, which I just want to take you through now. Now let's just assume I'm seeing 100 patients. And at present, our average sale is £50. So we're getting £5,000. £5,000 coming into our practice. Now bear in mind, previously when I was actually putting up my prices, it was probably been about 2 or 3 years prior to this, and I had all this anxiety, and I think I went up about $2 or $3. So less than a cup of coffee. Now, my coach at this time said, righto, if we're at £50, what's going to happen if you go to £60? I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose so many people. So if we have a look at it and we go, if we don't lose anyone and we've still got 100 patients, they're now spending £60. We've obviously got £6,000 coming in. I said, yeah, but what if we lose people? And he said, well, if we're charging £60, even for you to earn the same amount of money, we take this £5,000 and then divide this by a new price. So we divide this by our £60 equals 83. So in other words, I only need to see 83 patients at this price to earn the same amount of money. So I could have 17 people who aren't happy, leave the practice, which, I don't know about you, but at that time of my practice, I was so full, I had no time. I just, and this was a way of going, well, do you know what? If I actually did lose 17 people who didn't see the value in me, actually appropriately valuing myself as a practitioner, if they left the practice, probably wouldn't be a bad thing. So I could afford to lose 17 people and still make the same amount of money. Does that make sense to you? And that really blew my mind. And what we found was we actually did put up our prices, and we did put it up, pretty much, the equivalent of, 50 to 60 pounds. And the reality is we lost less than 2% of people. And so, on this, we probably, just say, that's 2 people. We lost 2 people. So in other words, I didn't actually create more time for myself, but all of a sudden I actually grew the practice. And I've seen this time and time again. Every client we've worked with, basically when I've put this challenge to them, I've gone through this simple maths, we've actually then come back and said, look, how many patients did you actually lose? And it's generally just 1 or 2, and they're generally the patients they didn't want in their practice to start with. Now, the other thing to think about this, and where people often go wrong, is they actually don't have the belief that they're actually worth the £60. Now, if you think about what £60 buys you, ladies out there getting haircuts and getting your hair done, I'm pretty sure you spend more than £60. Now, if we factor in the fact that you've done, at least 4 years training, you've got the wealth of experience behind you, you've got your equipment, you've got your facilities, etc. Surely you think you'll be worth, if you're £35, I guarantee you're worth 40 or 45. If you're currently at £45, I guarantee you're probably at 55 or £60. It's all about believing the value that you provide. The other thing to consider is, if we are charging ourselves out at £50 for a consult, the next thing to think about is, just because £50 comes in, does that necessarily go back into the back pocket of the owner? Like, there's obviously expenses along the way. There's wages, rent, insurance, IT, the pension, etc., etc., etc. And what we know, most practices that we see when we start working with them are making somewhere between 5 to 10% on the money that comes into their practice. That's their percentage net profit. So if we, just for my simple maths, if we just stay with 10%, so on that £50 consult, we're hoping we're left with £5. Now just remember, a lot of practices out there are somewhere between 3 and 5%. So it's £2.50 on a £50 consult. And so people are then quibbling, should I put it up an extra £2? And I guarantee, it was an eye-opener for me when I realised how little was actually sticking out of every consult, but also to engage your team, to educate our practitioners on, even though this is the money that's coming in, what are the expenses that come out of that to actually generate any income for the business, or profit for the business. And it can be as little as £5, and it could be £3 or £2 on a £50 consult. And so if we go to £60, we're still going from £5 to £6. It's not a huge jump. If you're only going from 50 to 52, you're going up, again, 20p. Is that really worth it? And my question more is, are you worth it? And so when we put our prices up, the question we need to understand is, yes, we're going up to the £5. So ask yourself the question, what would be 5 reasons why you are worth that £5 increase or that £10 increase? It's something like, as we start to increase this number, and it doesn't always have to go back into the owner's pocket, does it? It allows us to reinvest back into our practice. Increase the number of team numbers in our practice, improve our facilities, improve our equipment, improve our training and mentoring. And so I think it is essential we look at reviewing our prices on a regular basis and make sure that we're actually truly reflecting the value that we can deliver. And as we know, every expense goes up every year. And so it's a policy in our practice and with practice we work with that we review our prices every single year. And we put it up, and it becomes something that patients get used to, because everything goes up and they understand that this is a part of actually a sustainable practice, and it becomes an expectation. But the key part is we always must look at reinvesting back into our practice too. When they see you getting better and the environment getting better, they're happy to pay for the value that they're getting. So just to finish, it's not a question of, I can't afford to raise my prices. It's really a question of, we can't afford not to. And so what I want to ask, and actually I'll make you a promise, if you do put up your prices, whether it be £5, £10, whatever it is, you will lose less than a handful of patients. And they are the patients that you can probably do without. When we raise our prices, it allows us to really continue to deliver value to our patients and raise the bar for our practice and the services we provide. So here's a question for you. What are 5 reasons why you are worth a £5 to £10 increase on each of your consults? And just bear in mind, if I used the example before, we went from £50 to £60, and I could lose 17 patients and still make the same amount of money. Do that maths for yourself and you'll be very surprised, and it's comforting to know how many you could lose. So what are 5 reasons why you can raise your prices?